Proverbs 5 Warnings Against Immoral Woman. Shalom, ladies. It's time for another discussion. Previously, we explored the characteristics of a virtuous woman, while briefly going over the complete opposite, a loose or unchaste woman. Today, our focus is on the warning against immoral behavior of women, as mentioned in Proverbs chapter 5. Differentiating between a woman with virtue and one without is crucial when building a family and yourself. You want someone who is equally yoked with you, because if they are not, they can and will lead you astray. A mother and father should pass down this vital information to their son, as it can assist him in finding a virtuous wife, and as well as their daughter, as it can help her become one. To rebuild the family, both the man and woman must follow Yah's order. Chapter 21 in the book of Jasher gives us an example of a woman without virtue. And we will take a moment to read the context to see how eerily familiar it is to some of today's women. Remember, there is nothing new under the sun. Let's get started. The book of Jasher, chapter 21, verse 23 to 36. And Abraham rode upon one of his camels to the wilderness to seek his son Ishmael, for he had heard that he was dwelling in a tent in the wilderness with all belonging to him. And Abraham went to the wilderness, and he reached the tent of Ishmael about noon, and asked after Ishmael. And he found the wife of Ishmael sitting in the tent with her children, and Ishmael, her husband, and his mother were not with them. And Abraham asked the wife of Ishmael, saying, Where has Ishmael gone? And she said, He is going to the field to hunt. And Abraham was still mounted upon the camel, for he had told Sarah, his wife, that he would not get off from the camel. And Abraham said to Ishmael's wife, My daughter, give me a little water that I may drink, for I am fatigued from the journey. And Ishmael's wife answered and said to Abraham, We have neither water nor bread. And she continued sitting in the tent, and did not notice Abraham, neither did she ask him who he was. But she was beating her children in the tent, and she was cursing them, and she also cursed her husband Ishmael and reproached him. And Abraham heard the words of Ishmael's wife to her children, and he was very angry and displeased. And Abraham called to the woman to come out to him from the tent. And the woman came and stood opposite to Abraham, for Abraham was still mounted upon the camel. And Abraham said to Ishmael's wife, When thy husband Ishmael returneth home, say these words to him. A very old man from the land of the Philistines came hither to seek thee, and thus was his appearance and figure. And I did not ask him who he was, and seeing that thou was not here, he spoke unto me and said, When Ishmael thy husband returneth, tell him thus did this man say, When thou comest home, put away this nail of the tent which thou hast placed here, and place another nail in its stead. And Abraham finished his instructions to the woman, and he turned and went off on the camel homeward. And after that, Ishmael came from the chase, he and his mother, and returned to the tent. And his wife spoke these words to him. A very old man from the land of the Philistines came to seek thee, and thus was his appearance and figure. I did not ask him who he was, and seeing thou was not here, he said to me, When thy husband cometh home, tell him, Thus saith the old man, Put away the nail of the tent which thou hast placed here, and place another nail in its stead. And Ishmael heard the words of his wife, and he knew that it was his father, and that his wife did not honor him. And Ishmael understood his father's words, that he had spoken to his wife. And Ishmael hearkened to the voice of his father. And Ishmael cast off that woman, and she went away. That saying, put away the nail from your tent, means to get rid of this woman and replace her with another. Ishmael's wife, mentioned in Jasher, is what the Bible refers to as a haughty woman. In other words, stuck up or snobbish. As we can see, her characteristics are not of a woman of virtue, but instead of a woman that a mother or a father warns their son about in Proverbs chapter 5. Now let's get into it.
Shalom. This is titled A Warning Against Adultery, and this is found in Proverbs chapter 5. And it reads, My son, pay attention to my wisdom, and turn your ear to my words of insight, that you may maintain discretion, and your lips may preserve knowledge. For the lips of an adulterous woman drip honey, and her speech is smoother than oil. But in the end, she is bitter as gall, sharp as a double-edged sword. Her feet go down to death. Her steps lead to the grave. She gives no thought to the way of life. Her paths wander aimlessly, but she does not know it. Now then, my son, listen to me. Do not turn aside from what I say. Keep to a path far from her. Do not go near the door of her house, lest you lose your honor to others and your dignity to one who is cruel. Lest strangers feast on your wealth, and your toil enrich the house of another. Hallelujah. At the end of your life, you will groan. When your flesh and your body are spent, you will say, How I hated discipline. How my heart scorned correction. I will not obey my teachers or turn my ear to my instructors. And I was soon in serious trouble in the assembly of Yahuwah's people. Drink water from your own cistern, running water from your own well. Should your springs overflow in the street, your streams of water in the public squares, let them be yours alone, never to be shared with strangers. May your fountain be blessed, and may you rejoice in the wife of your youth, a loving doe, a graceful deer. May her breast satisfy you always. May you ever be intoxicated with her love. Why, my son, be intoxicated with another man's wife? Why embrace the bosom of a wayward woman? For your ways are in full view of Yahuwah, and he examines all your paths. The evil deeds of the wicked ensnare them. The cords of their sins hold them fast. For lack of discipline they will die, led astray by their own great folly.
The dangers of immoral woman and the importance of teaching kingdom principles to our children. Chapter 5, verse 6 warns us about the dangers of promiscuous women. Women who lack self-awareness and wander aimlessly on their path. They spiral out of control without even realizing it. When we fall into sin, we become delusional, believing that our actions are righteous. But this is how House of Time deceives us. Therefore, it's crucial that we not only tolerate our children, but also embrace and raise them according to kingdom principles. We must teach them the importance of respecting Yah's word, themselves, and others. Jasher in Proverbs 5 warns against emulating certain women, but Proverbs 31 extols the virtues of a woman with substance. Follow the example of the latter and be a woman of worth. As a daughter of Zion, take responsibility for your actions and let Yah's love guide you.
religion, I don't mind. No death in the pot from me. Late night doing dishes, late night. Still rising early in the morning. If I'm home, turn a day. Feel free to come sneak up on me. You don't have to wonder if I'm playing games. Your heart can trust in me, baby. A virtuous wife, that's what I desire to be. The number of your days shall be double. A virtuous wife.
And I would like to say thank you for listening, and all praises to Yahuwah Sabaoth. Shalom.